What's going on, guys? Welcome to this video in which we're going to talk about a concept, a thing that plagues human beings, right? It plagues us and it prevents us from achieving our goals and our dream in life, right? And before we get into this and start to break this down, there's a quote by Napoleon Hill which says that 98% of people never achieve their dreams while only 2% of people do, right? And so the question becomes, what does the 2% of people do that 98% of people don't do? And that is what prevents them from achieving that goals, right? And that's essentially what we're going to break down in this video, right? So resistance. Resistance is the number one thing that plagues the human being. It prevents us from achieving success. It prevents us from going after the goal, from taking action, and really just from achieving anything that we want in life, right? And that's the that's the thing that we're going to break down in this video and show you how the 2% of people view resistance and how they overcome it. Well, let's identify what resistance is, right? So when you wake up in the morning and you say that you're going to go to the gym, but you hear that voice inside your head like that tells you, oh, you don't need to go to the gym, just stay in bed a little longer, this feels really good right now. Like, that is resistance. I also call it the little bitch, which creeps up inside our head when we're about to do something and prevents us from doing it. That's also what resistance is. Or maybe when you say you're about to start a business, right? And then you hear all these voices inside your head as to why you should start the business, right? That is resistance, right? And it affects us in many forms. Number one, it drastically reduces and affects our motivation, and as well as like our productivity, our drive to pursue the very thing that we want to pursue, right? And like I said, we all experience this. Like, we get excited about doing something. You get excited about starting a business. You get excited about going and asking the girl out, right? You get excited about wanting to start this new workout system or regimen, right? And then the moment that you're about to do it, boom, these voices are creeping up inside of your head. Oh, you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. Like, all these things are gonna be, stated inside your head and to tell you not to do that very thing. Resistance will also show up as procrastination, right? So that's another way that you identify what resistance is. It shows up as procrastination. Instead of doing the thing that we said that we're gonna do, right, which is like going to the gym, we do something else, right? We do something of lesser value, right? And another thing is we optimize for short-term gratification instead of prolonging gratification, right? Optimize towards like that short-term gratification. For example, you're in your desk, you're working on a project, or you're working on your business plan, right? And you see your phone right next to you, right? And instantly you get the urge to look at your phone, scroll through social media, scroll through Instagram, just to get again that instant gratification, therefore further derailing you from the main thing that you're wanting to do, right? And the thing is, again, you have to be able to identify when that thing is happening, right? Because you cannot be an enemy that you cannot see, right? Now that you have identified, oh, this is resistance, right? Number one, it's gonna derail me from doing the main thing at hand, right? Number two is it's gonna, it wants short-term gratification. It wants that thing where it can instantly find pleasure from, right? So that's identifying what resistance is. Again, if you're able to identify it, then you can identify who the enemy is, right? Like, and when it starts swinging at you, you can block, you can dodge, right? So that's the number one thing that's one of the things that the 2% of people that do succeed in achieving their goals do. They identify what the problem, who the enemy is, right? And so they can see the enemy coming. And so now the thing is, after you identify these things, right, what resistance is and how it shows up in your life is, how do you then beat it? Is the next question, right? Before we get into that, is the number one thing you have to understand about our brain, right? Our brain has a natural inclination to want to pursue pleasure and stay away from pain, right? It wants to conserve your energy, right? And for the main reason that your brain constantly thinks that you're always going to be in a situation that you're going to need to exert energy to get yourself out of danger, right? And so it will do everything in its power it can to keep you relaxed, which is like sitting on the couch watching Netflix, and basically trying to conserve as much energy as possible so that it will use it when it senses danger, and so that you have enough energy to escape that danger, right? So that's the number one thing you have to understand. Your brain wants pleasure and avoids pain. So now, understanding that, you need to understand that you need to do the opposite of that, right? If your brain wants to constantly opt for pleasure and stay away from pain, you need to do the opposite of that, right? You need to step out of your comfort zone, right? You got to step out of your comfort zone constantly, right? You got to take massive action, right? You got to take massive action and execute violently, right? And the thing is, like, the more you start to step out of your comfort zone and take massive action, you're going to meet less and less and less and less resistance, right? And then you just become this person that's always taking action and always actually doing the things that they want to do, right? But again, number one thing is like, you got to do the opposite of what your brain is opting for, right? You got to step out of your comfort zone and take massive action on a consistent basis. And the third thing really that you want to do is you got to question your belief. You constantly got to be questioning your belief. What do I believe about the thing that I'm actually doing right now, right? What do I believe about the thing that is preventing me from taking action, right? So you got to do that on a constant basis. And really, those are the things that the 2% of people that do succeed in life, right, and do succeed in their, in their endeavor, that the 98% of people don't do, right? As I stated, identify who the enemy is, identify what the enemy is, right? And then understanding what your brain's natural inclination is to do, and then do the opposite of that, right? I hope that you're able to draw the insight and the knowledge from this video about beating resistance, the very thing that plagues your ability to succeed, right? And if you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.